Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine. We will get started in a seated position today. So come to your mat and find yourself in a comfortable upright seated position. Your legs can be crossed. They can be offset. If you have lotus or half lotus in your practice, you're welcome to come into lotus or half lotus. It's totally up to you and where your body is today. You're welcome to have the legs out in front of you. Excuse me. Just make sure that you bring the spine upright from wherever you're sitting and that you're not leaning against a wall or anything today. Find the sits bones on the floor. You can ground the sits bones in. Move anything that is in the way. If the knees feel any sort of tightness or tension, please do put something underneath the knees for support. You can roll your mat under the knees. You can put blocks or a rolled blanket or small pillows, something, whatever it is that you have. But if you're blocking or supporting one knee, please do support both. As we get moving, the knees will hopefully begin to open a little bit more as the hips open. Find the sits bones, squeeze the glutes, bring the knees a little bit closer to the floor if your legs are crossed in this way, or just ground the sits bones into the floor. Raise the spine, gently tuck the chin just slightly, and soften the gaze. Bring the palms to the knees, either face down or face up or across the legs with your hands with the finger and thumb in a mudra coming into that A-OK sign. Find your breath. Soften the gaze so you're not focusing on anything. Begin to find the pelvic floor and engage that. Find the core and engage that as well. By engaging the pelvic floor, we keep the body nice and stable. By engaging the core, we keep the spine safe. Keeps that spine lifted. You can even bring the gaze to the tip of the nose if you'd like. That will offset everything else in your line of sight. Shoulders move down away from the ears. Feel as if the shoulder blades are coming to a point down towards your waist, like a V down the back. Continue to raise the spine up from the sits bones. Notice your breath. If it's short or if it feels like it's catching or if it's not fluid, then find that length of inhale, usually to a count of 4. That will help you keep that breath long, and it will feed your practice today. Next, inhale, raise up a little bit more and begin to hinge at the hips. It doesn't matter how far your hands go in front of you. It matters that you're hinging and not rounding the back. So leading with the chest. Again, pay attention to the knees. If there's any sort of discomfort, pulling, tightness, tension, then come up from wherever you are. Each exhale, see if you can hinge a little bit more, again, if it's safe for your body today. Breathe. Find the way to sit that works for you today. It might not be the way that you were sitting yesterday. It might not work for you today. And that's okay. Inhale, bring yourself up. Reverse the cross of the feet. Again, find that place where both sits bones are equally on the floor. Cross the legs, keep them offset, or bring yourself into lotus or half lotus, whatever works for you right now. And exhale, hinge forward again. Lengthen the spine, keep the core nice and engaged, keep the pelvic floor engaged. Even though we're sitting, we want to keep that pelvic floor engaged. for that stability. Inhale, come up. Exhale, twist to the right and hinge again. Lead with the collarbones. Lead with the chest. And we're just getting the body moving this morning, so I'm going to ease into it. Inhale, come up. Exhale, untwist. Inhale, twist to your left. And exhale, hinge again. Again, lead with the chest, lead with the collarbones. Inhale, bring yourself up. Exhale, twist back towards center. You're welcome to reverse the cross of the feet again. Back to that original cross that you had. Arms come out to the side. Inhale, up. Raise the hands up. Press the palms together as you gaze towards your thumbs overhead. Exhale, follow the thumbs down. Inhale, raise the arms up again. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, but feel all of this motion coming from those shoulder joints. Inhale up, press the palms, good. Exhale down. Inhale, press the palms together, gaze to the thumbs so you're also awakening the neck. Exhale down, and yet again, hinge here. See if there's any difference yet in your hinge. Breathe. If your breath begins to change as you enter a posture or as you deepen a posture, then that is your cue that you might have gone a little too far. Bring yourself back up a little bit until you can breathe fully again. Inhale, come up. Good. Turn to the side of the mat. Slowly come up onto the knees and the hands. Find yourself in tabletop with a neutral spine, so it's just that natural curve to the spine. Knees directly under the hips. Shoulders directly over the elbows, directly over the wrists. If the wrists are tender or if they need a little less load, then you can bring yourself up onto fists rather than flat palms. Begin to slowly make circles. Again, this is a very slow, purposeful movement from the hip joint and the shoulder joint. The knees and elbows follow, and wrists. But really focus in on starting that movement from the hips more than anything else. Then the shoulders. Begin to widen the circle out nice and slowly. Pelvic floor is still engaged. Core is still engaged. Notice what's going on in the body here. Also the mind. If the mind is wandering, bring it back to what you're doing. Notice if there's any pinching, tightness, tenderness, sounds. Sometimes the joints pop. Notice if there's any crunching or grinding. And bring your circle smaller than those sounds or those sensations. Begin to slowly go the other way, starting with your widest circle. And then slowly closing that circle into a smaller circle until we meet back in tabletop. Curl the toes, sit back onto the heels. Open the bottom of the feet. If you need more, sit up onto your knees. Open the fascia of the soles of the feet. Come back to tabletop. Inhale, drop the hips, lift the chest, look up to the sky as you inhale into cow. Good, bring the shoulder blades together down the back. Exhale, round the back, take the belly button towards the spine further. Allow the shoulder blades to roll off the side of the body. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Nice, long, slow breaths. Inhale, cat. Cow, Inhale, cow. Keeping the breath nice and long for each inhale and exhale. So your cat-cow is at your pace, not mine. And it's not a race. One more round. Inhale into cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale back to neutral. Raise the right foot. Place the toes down. Rock gently forward and back. Again, open up the bottom of the foot, especially if you have to put your foot into shoes, especially heels. And then this can maybe offset that a little bit. Sweep the foot across the left leg, look over the left shoulder. Spread the right ribs away from that right hip. Look towards those toes of the right foot. Open that right side body as you gaze over the left shoulder. Bring the foot back. Bring the knee back down. Other side, lift the left leg. Place the toes onto the floor. Rock up and down. As you're ready, sweep that foot across the right leg. Look over the right shoulder, this time towards the left toes. Open the left side body. Really lift those ribs away from that left hip. Core is still engaged. Pelvic floor is still engaged. Bring the foot back. Reset into tabletop. Again, pay attention to the wrists. If they need a little less load, come up onto the fists. Lift the right leg, straight back, hip facing the floor. Left hand comes up. Find your balance. This is where keeping that core and pelvic floor engaged is really going to help out. Keep that shoulder moving away from the ear. Push through the heel, but don't let that femur lose the hip bone. Try not to press it out like that. Keep it nice and tucked in. At the same time, reach through the fingertips, reach through the heel. Exhale, bring everything down. Other side. Lift the left foot first. Point the toes towards the floor. Hip stays pointed towards the floor. Pelvic floor engaged, core is engaged. Lift the right hand. Find your balance. Find that equally distributed weight between the left hand and the right leg. Breathe. Gazes to the floor or to the tip of your nose. Reach through the fingertips. Reach through the heel of the left foot. Exhale, come down. Bring the toes together, knees out wide. Sit into child's pose. Press the heels and the hips towards each other. Lower the forehead towards the floor. Press the hands into the floor again. Bring that heel and hips as close to each other as possible. Breathe. Pelvic floor and core still engaged here. Open the chest. Open the heart. Inhale, come up to tabletop. Begin to walk the feet out into plank. You're welcome to keep the knees down. And again, even in plank, you're welcome to keep yourself up onto fists if your wrists are a little bit tender this morning. From here, exhale into downward dog and walk the legs out a little bit. Press into the palms, tilt the hips forward so the hip bones are moving towards the thigh bones. Inhale, come back into plank. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Long exhale. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Stay here for 5 breaths. Again, walk the legs out if you need to. Press into the palms. Inhale, plank. Lower yourself all the way down. Again, bring the knees down if you'd like. All the way to the floor. Here we go. Feet are together, toes pointed away from you. Hands right under your shoulders. Even on the floor, keep the pelvic floor and the core engaged. Press the feet together. Zip the legs shut. Inhale up into Cobra. Drop the elbows towards your waist. Shoulders come away from the ears. Feet stay on the floor. Gaze is to the floor. Only come up as high as you can lift your arms off the floor. You don't have to keep them off, but we're not coming into up dog. We're coming into Cobra. It's a very different posture. Feel the back working. Keep the core engaged to protect the low spine. Exhale, bring yourself down. Release the hands out. Release the feet. Bring one ear or the other to the mat. And take a breath. Zip the feet back together. Chin comes to the mat. Second round of Cobra. Zip the legs together. Press the tops of the feet into the floor. Engage the back even more. Lift up. Elbows tuck in very tightly towards your waist. Shoulders away from the ears. Core, pelvic floor engaged. And breathe. As you inhale, press up a little bit more. Walk the hands out into seal. Walk the hands out far enough where you don't feel your low back. You can bring the feet out mat distance apart as well. Lower the chin towards the chest. Two more breaths. If you need more, walk the hands closer to the body for more of a back bend. But that's not necessary. Only if you need that. Exhale, lower the elbows directly to the floor. Bring the feet back together. Lower the chin towards the chest into Sphinx. If you feel any sort of sensation in the low back at all, doesn't have to be pain, just even noticing your low back is there, walk the elbows out a little bit away from the body. It's still a back bend, even with our chin tucked like this. On your next exhale, let the feet flop. Bring the hands down to the side again. Bring the other ear to the mat. And take a few breaths. Next, inhale, bring the chin to the mat. Hands come under the shoulders. Press up back into tabletop. And walk your right foot up towards the top of your mat. As you inhale, bring yourself up. Find that balance. Find that strength and that stability from your pelvic floor engagement, your core engagement. Inhale the arms up overhead. You can press the palms together if you'd like. And find your balance. Sink into that front hip. Exhale, bring that left hand back. Tuck on the left leg. A little bit more of a back bend here. We're so forward focused here in the society that back bends are nice. Exhale, bring yourself back up. For twisting, bring the left hand outside the right knee. Lift the spine first. Exhale, begin to look over that right shoulder. If you need more, tuck the right hand across the waist. 2 more breaths. Good. Slowly unwind, just as slowly as you went in. Place the hands on the floor. Bring that foot back. Good. Walk the left foot forward towards the hands. Come up off that right kneecap. Make everything safe. Sink into the left knee. Inhale, arms up overhead. Find your balance. Get that core nice and engaged. Pelvic floor is engaged as well. Exhale, right hand down the right hamstring. Peaceful warrior. Sink into that front hip. Inhale the arms together. Find that balance again. Lift up through the spine. Shoulders away from the ears. Really lift that spine. Each inhale creates space between the vertebrae. Place the right hand outside the left knee. Inhale, exhale. Lift the spine and twist. If you need more, bring that left hand around the waist. Look over the left shoulder. Sink into that front left hip. 2 more breaths. Release as slowly as you went in. Keep lifting the spine. Even though it's a twist, it's more about lifting the spine than twisting it far back. Bring that left foot back. Sit onto the heels into hero pose. And just find that stillness between postures. Very important to find that. Bring the heels far away from the body if this is appropriate for you. If this is not appropriate, if trying to bring your sits bones to the floor in a kneeling position is not appropriate, you stay up in hero's pose, that's a perfect place to be. If your hips can move towards the floor, then do so. 2 more breaths. If there's any pulling, any sensation in the joints of the knees here, do not do this. Stay in hero's pose. Place the hands to the side to help gently, slowly lift you up. Bring the heels back under if you brought your hips to the floor. We all meet in hero's pose. Lengthen the spine. Find that core strength again. Find the pelvic floor engaged. Lower the chin. Round the back. Bring the top of the head to the floor. Bring your hands towards your heels and hold on. So the top of the head is touching the floor, but it's not really pushing into it. Begin to raise your hips. Walk the knees close to the head. Pull on the heels. A lot of activity for the shoulders. Spread the shoulders apart here. Breathe. Exhale, come down. In those postures like that where the neck is constricted, it can bring up anxiety. Continue to breathe through it. Continue to find a place where you can breathe, and you will be able to tell yourself, your body will be able to respond by breathing. So that kind of panic that can come up with those constricted neck postures, they really can be worked through. When I first started those, it felt like an anxiety attack. But it's very different now. It just takes practice and every day is different. Bring yourself back onto hands and knees. Bring the toes under one more time, one more down dog. Walk the dog. Walk the feet, walk the legs. Lift up on the toes and let the heels sink towards the floor. It's okay if they don't touch the floor. Gaze towards the belly button. Drop the knees on an exhale. Good. Bring yourself into a seated posture. Come back to those first two postures that we did today, where we had our legs crossed or your feet out in front of you. Find your breath, find that length in the spine. Each inhale creates space between the vertebrae. Exhale, take in the low belly even more. Bring those hip bones towards the femurs and hinge. Keep the sits bones on the floor. Just notice if this is any different than when you first started. Is there any more space? Is there any more room to allow more hinging as you exhale? Keep leading with the chest. Inhale, bring yourself up. Nice and slowly. Reverse the cross of the feet. Inhale again. Exhale. Again. Hinge at the hips. Bring those hip bones towards the femurs. Lower the head. Lengthen the spine by tucking the chin towards the chest. Breathe. See if there's room to hinge a little bit more with each exhale while keeping those sits bones on the floor. Try not to lift them off the floor. Inhale, bring yourself up. Bring the knees in together and turn to the side of your mat. One more balancing posture here. Find the length in the spine. Bring the knees close to the chest. You can hold your wrists, you can hold your hands, you can hold your elbows, whatever works for you right now. And lift the toes off the floor. That core strength is going to keep those feet up. Keep lifting through the spine. Try not to round the upper back or the lower back. Toes don't have to be very far off the ground. If you need more or want more right now or want to try Navasana, boat pose, bring the legs out, hands out. You can always keep your knees bent. 2 more breaths. And lower the feet to the floor or lower the legs to the floor. Allow yourself to come down to the floor as well. Bring the feet out about mat distance apart. Close the eyes or soften the gaze. Allow the entire back to release to the floor. Find your breath. Let the feet flop open. No effort here at all. Open the arms out to the side. Tuck the shoulders just a little bit underneath you. Keep the palms facing up for an uplift. Face the palms down for grounding. Whatever you need right now is how you place your palms. And allow everything to sink into your mat. Release onto the floor and let the earth hold you up. Find your breath at the tip of your nose, tracing each inhale in through its entire pathway, tracing each exhale out throughout its entire pathway. Notice the sound of the breath temperature. And allow yourself to take a little bit of rest at the end of your practice in order to consolidate your gains. And also to just give the body and the mind a chance to reset before you start the next thing. Stay at rest for as long as you need. I will be shutting off the video, but you stay there as long as you need to. Thank you very much for joining me today. It's my pleasure to work with you. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.